Okay, this does show us live on YouTube and Facebook. So let me double check that I can see us, especially since we are both having some little hiccups in this.
There must be hundreds of people waiting out there.
I know they are. They're just dying for the Rich Seymour show.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just now am seeing the notification button, so I would like to assume that everyone else is beginning to get alerted, and we can go ahead and get kicked off for today's segment and our broadcast. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever it is that you are choosing to watch this video. If you are in real time with us, then thank you for hopping on to our streams. These are being streamed on both our Facebook pages and our YouTube channel. Be sure that you not only like and subscribe the pages, but you are signed up for notifications and alerts by following or selecting the little alert button if you're on YouTube. Doing so allows you to know when we post content, when we go live in the future. It also gives you a little bubble notification if you have those push notifications on your phone, and lets you know that videos are available for you to watch. So if you miss them, then you know, excuse me, then you know and can go back and watch. But at any point in time, you can always watch our videos. They're available in the video section here on our Facebook or YouTube platform for you to rewind, rewatch, and replay. If you do tune in with us later and you are watching this on replay, especially if you have a comment or question, we love to know if you are tuned in. Give us a hashtag replay in the comment section so we can be able to pull whatever comment you might have or question that you speak to. Of course, along the way, we'll mention that now is the time for you to make a comment or a question. That doesn't mean that you have to publicly ask a question. If there's something that you would privately like an answer for, DM our page or send us a quick note, and we're able to get that over to our guests and get you taken care of. Which takes me to the next way that you can engage with us on this video, outside of just listening to all the information that's coming across. If you're watching, you can always hit the share button on this video so others in your network are notified that we're live and can also hop in and learn some of the information or hear some resources or something that they may not know is happening in their community. You can also respond to the video, and you can respond in the comment section. The comments are can be varied. It could be good morning pleasantries, and I'll go ahead and pull up one that's come through from our YouTube account. Whether you're viewing it on YouTube or Facebook, you have the capability to engage with us. The comment will be pulled up on the screen. We're able to see that Dave's tuned in from YouTube, giving a quick good morning message to Councilor Seymour and myself. So good morning to you, Dave. Thank you for tuning in to our weekly segments. Outside of commenting, you can also react to the video, giving us thumbs up, emojis, especially letting us know if there are tech issues. We love to know if there are tech issues, because if you can't hear us and you can only see us, that's half the greatness that you're experiencing. So drop the comments, drop the emojis. It gives us a chance to see who's on here. So that's the basic housekeeping. We kick off every Monday, or we try to every Monday. Sometimes holidays happen or out of state happens and all that good stuff. But we kick off Mondays with city updates. And our city updates are all things that are going on in our community, around our community, or that affect our community. And they're generally brought to you by our counselors. And we do this on a rotation. So there is always a different perspective from the dice coming back to talk to you about things that are of interest to them, that have been accomplished, and things that they feel most passionate about. So today I have with me Councilor Seymour. Councilor Seymour, thank you for being on here.
It's always great to be on with you, Juliet, and the chamber. Of course, when she's referring to technical difficulties, that's my middle name, it seems like. But it works great until this thing. So right. Thank you for your patience.
I will commiserate in your misery by saying this. I'm at a conference. If you can't tell, I'm in a hotel room. Like, this is not my my bedroom. I don't have these aesthetics and everything, but I'm at a conference and there's this app you're supposed to download so you can engage with all the attendees and all of this great stuff. And I've been getting messages because these are people that are in my industry for decades that I've known. I can't get the app. I download it, it tells me it's the wrong email. I reset the email, it tells me it'll send me a code. Never got the code, so I'm locked out of being able to get to people. And it shouldn't be as challenging, but I am also a tech challenged millennial, so I hope you find some peace in that. But Councilor Seymour, I've hoarded up this broadcast already enough. I know you've always had your things together and in a row, and you've got some things that you want us to be aware of. So I'll turn this over to you, and I'll do my best to try and type in as much as I can in the comment section.
Well, I don't want to disappoint, but I'm going to be faking half of this, so we'll see how that goes. It's great to be on here as usual. It has been, it's always busy in our city. We have so many great things going on, being a full service city with parks, recs, police department, fire department, everything that touches public works. It's great to engage with our residents on all those matters. Speaking of resident outreach, last Thursday we had one of our series of town halls. We are trying to reach people where they are, and may it be neighborhood, either technology-wise or not technology-wise. So last week we went old school and we did a telephone town hall. And so, yeah, that's old school, but you know what? We have some of our residents that can't get out to the meetings or the timing's right. You know, when you got a busy family life and we go, okay, we're going to be at this rec center or this school at this night. And you go, oh my gosh, we've got 3 soccer games and 2 practices and yeah. And so just doesn't work. So our town hall format, we did it where all the counselors were gathered in our boardroom, and we had a great technical setup led by the people at CRL and our community outreach staff. We had at one point we have over 413 people on the line, I believe. Wow. We didn't have a breakdown of how many of those were landlines or then cell phone call-ins, and we answered questions other than just the first introduction by Mayor McNally and then each counselor introducing themselves. We answered questions that came up on the board, every single one of them, right until end time at 6:30, at 7:30. So we had people engaging in questions that came from across the neighborhood and in 2 languages. And we had Spanish interpretation on that as well. And we got questions from the Spanish language that were then interpreted, and the whole meeting was based on interpretation. So I would say too that if you have 400 people anywhere, that would match one of the largest attendances that we've had in our town halls. And so we will continue. We have those meetings right now set up through January of next year. We wanted to make sure that we didn't get to the end of the year and go, oh, what should we do next year? And then start all over again. So that's a continuous process that we're involved in. Some of the topics that we know, because we answer emails on them constantly and our staff's engaged in. Some of the questions were, what's happening in Sheridan Green Elementary, because that reverts back to the city. That's a big topic on that. We still have more engagement coming with the community. We took all the input from the first meeting, we put those in a spreadsheet, have those out there. Staff's working on bringing some things down to a finer level, and we've got another engagement coming up next month, August. So we're already into August. I don't know how that happened. So other topics, it always comes up because it's the Holsclaw property on Sheridan and about 101st. When are we going to get all the trees cleared out of there? Well, we've got someone in there cleaning up some of it right now, but it's back and forth. The property owner currently and the property owner in the future, who's going to get that cleaned up, and we're moving forward on that. And then the other one that comes up is on 92nd, the Diekman property, where we'd had a couple fires in a house that was had been tried to be for sale for quite some time, and it is an asbestos mess. And we finally got the permit from the state of Colorado, and we have contractors online for that. And so that property we didn't even own up until a few months ago. So we purchased that from Jefferson County to make that part of our open space as we did on several other properties this year. So those things came up. There was several questions on the new water plant, several questions on water conservation. All those answers are being followed up on if we didn't get the exact detail on that. And so it was just another opportunity to engage in another way with our community. So see that as a success. I mean, if we had 200 people, that's successful too. It's just a way easier for them to engage.
Yeah.
Last week also, we had a fun event this Saturday, the Westminster Brewfest, which is always a big hit. The weather held. Great job by our staff. Safe, and the vendors did a tremendous job of that too. Lots of food trucks, a lot of happy people. And and the weather's a big thing these days. Is okay, are we going to have a tornado, or are we going to have too much sun, or are we going to get hailed on? But the evening worked out perfectly.
I tell you, I left Oklahoma where it was just always so temperamental, right? Like you'd wake up and it would be a little chilly. And then by the time 11 a.m. hit, you're stripping down as much as you can do without causing anyone uncomfortability, right? And then you're back to it. Sirens are going off, go hide out. And I'm like, I left to the exact same weather pattern now. It's crazy. But I'm glad to hear that you all were able to diligently continue to have that program and event and had things in place that supported those vendors that were out there and taking the time to try and raise awareness about themselves and raise dollars.
Yeah, it was a great evening for local businesses. All the local breweries were representative as well, many across the entire metro areas too. So great crowd, great interaction. People enjoyed themselves appropriately, and you can have a great time and enjoy what Westminster, and the view up there is amazing. So can't beat City Park and the what we've got in front of us. Moving into this week, we do have a study session tonight for City Council. One of the biggest areas of feedback that we have is items that staff is bringing before us to clean up our charter. Our charter is always needs updates, and so we had some on the last election, some items to update. Those all have to be voted on by the residents of Westminster. And the items that staff is bringing forward to us are a lot of technical issues tonight. Some of the items in as far as what the city manager can assign or what the city manager can approve are a little outdated, and so we're going to make those a little more flexible. There wasn't anything on there that I have an issue with. It just makes the business of doing the business of the city flow a little bit better, so that council can concentrate on long-term strategic planning. And then there's also a placeholder in there for anything that council members want to bring forward to work with our other councilors to try to get a majority to get on the ballot. And I do know from emails received and calls received and then discussions that we've had previous during council study sessions that the idea of wards and districts is going to be brought up and discussed again tonight. It was on the last ballot. It was worded as a study session. There was a lot of items on the ballot, and sometimes you get what's called ballot fatigue, and people go, I don't want to read all these, so I'm just going to vote no. And vote no all the way down the line, except for reauthorizing parks, recs, and open space tax and more bonds for our open space. So we'll have that discussion tonight. That's always available on the YouTube channel, City of Westminster, and you can listen to that live tonight starting at 6:30. And then it's a great way to check in, and you can do it from the comfort of your home, or just like the Chamber Live, it's recorded, and you can go back and do it at a time that's best for you.
Absolutely. If I can just quickly interject, because we've had some new folks that have hopped on with us, and then you made some comments that I want to try and clarify for people as well, so that they can understand if that is helpful to our conversation. But we've got Councilor Seymour with us, recapping a few of the things that have taken place over the last few days, including the town hall meeting, which had over 400 people. Some of the highlights from that meeting, questions that people have asked around Sheridan Green and other parts of our community. Then, of course, he moved into this past weekend's events that we hosted, and then tonight's study session and some of the items that are on study session. In our conversation around study session, of course, we talked about there being a number of things that are coming up on your agenda. One of those includes this cleanup and language for the charter. And so here is where I have a personal question. And as you guys are hopping on here, if you can react to the video or comment or provide us any questions, I'll do my part in pulling these up on the screen right now for Councilor Seymour to see them. Our current board chairman, Parker Brown, is giving us a nice good morning message. Good morning to you as well, Parker. Thanks for hopping on. We also have Brian Head with us as well, tuned in and giving a quick good morning note our way. We appreciate both of you and any and all of you that are tuned in that are just reacting to the video instead of giving us any comments or questions. But my question was around changes. So we mentioned in our start of the comments that led to charter changes, you had shared that any charter changes would have to go to the public to vote on. However, when we broke down kind of what the agenda item was for tonight, we talked about some cleanup for city manager and his ability to do or not do something. Are those items that would come forward to the general public, or is that more between council and city manager because it's related to his job duties and roles? And I hope that that clarifies the question a little bit.
Yeah, the items on tonight's agenda that staff are presenting are embedded in the charter. So there are some cases where the charter got into a little bit of detail, and I'm sure everybody carries one of these around with them.
Of course.
And so there's some specific details in here that there are checks and balances that that time the charter committee that put together this in 1958 thought it was important to establish on the city. Now, some of those things are outdated as far as means of communication. Some of them are outdated as far as responsibilities and who to delegate those responsibilities. Those things change over time. These are small, in my mind, very small administrative changes that just make it so that we don't have conflicts in the future too.
Okay.
The wards and districts would be a substantial change because it very specific in our charter that it's all one district. We all run at large. And so there's some people that concern very different city in 1958 than it is today.
It definitely
population,
is. It's still very different city than when I first got here 6.5 years, right? It's constantly changing. It's constantly adapting to the market. And I think you answered that by clarifying that there are small administrative changes and then those larger ones that do require the majority that would go to the ballot. And we did share that there was ballot fatigue, and I will echo that sentiment that you do have to read through, because I know that we had some folks that had voted, for example, for the marijuana in our community and wanted to kind of change that, but then they had not voted for the tax. And the way that it was written was that even if that one passed, it couldn't without the second. And so I know a lot of people were confused and questioned, hey, what the heck did that happen? That should have passed through. Well, the devils are always in the details, and we'll do our own ballot overview conversation for folks, and of course leading up to election so that they're aware of it. But back to you. Thank you for allowing me to interject.
That's right. A couple other presentations we're getting tonight. One is on proposed amendments to our code, which doesn't need to go before the voters, but can updated by council regarding unsafe buildings, structures, and equipment. We've had some major incidents in our city in the last couple of years of abandoned buildings that have become substantial hazards to our residents. How are we going to deal with those? We've had unfortunate situations where we had a death in one of the buildings. And at that point, based on our municipal code, our hands were tied about what the process that we could be. So staff is coming together tonight to start with a process of seeing if council wants to be able to put a little different look on this. And then some thoughts on how we keep up with the cost of infrastructure, our roads, keeping our facilities and our equipment up to date. Especially this is what our residents drive on every day, use every day, and facilities use too. So how can we have a good long range plan for that? So that's a busy night.
It is a busy night. It's full of some rather boring updates, but they're impactful updates, right? And most of this is already published out there. A lot of the agenda items and further details are included for the public in advance of these meetings. You can find them generally on the cityofwestminster.us page. We'll include that into the chat for you. So what else do we want to share? So we just talked about what's already transpired, events, meetings, updates for this evening's calendar. What's been on your radar or something that you want to draw some attention to or perhaps continue to highlight if I have cut you off?
No, before I jump away from that, though, a new thing that our city manager and staff added to our agenda is long-range agenda. It is a outline of the big items that are coming up for the next 6 months. So people go, hey, when are you going to address this? You said you're going to address that. Well, that gives you an idea of when that's coming up. So that's a great tool for people to use. I think the items too is that summer's a great time to get out and meet people. Tomorrow night is one of those great nights. It's National Night Out. It's always the first Tuesday the first Tuesday of August, and so that's tomorrow. And throughout our entire cities, associations, historic Westminster, all over our city from one end to the other, neighbors get together. Many times these are all prearranged, and our police officers and fire department drop by, and it's a great time for neighbors to get out and meet neighbors. And so I encourage you, if you don't do it formally or group, call your neighbors and say, hey, let's go sit out in the driveway like we did during COVID and talk to each other, because it's a great way to meet. One of our partners, Highland Hills Park and Rec, continues to take information on what is going on with Carol Butts Park. And so that's going to be Wednesday evening. And of course, I went right off of that website and I can't find it. Let me see if I can.
That's okay. As you're doing that, I'll quickly interject and say hello to our newcomers that are on here. AJ, I see you on here giving a quick good morning message to Councilor Seymour and myself. Good to see your face. Thanks for tuning in with us. And I love that new addition that our CMO has made for the long range agenda, because that has continued to be such a where are we in the process type of thing. So I like that there's some forward thinking and transparency in that. And then I have not been to National Night Out yet, and I need to do it because I love that you can connect with your neighbors and get to know them a little bit more. And through that increased conversation dialogue, hopefully we tackle some of our community challenges that we're experiencing. How late does that event run? Is that an all evening type of program?
Yeah, some of them start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of them are catered. Some of them are potluck. Bring your own food. It just, some neighborhoods, it is just quite the extravaganza. It turns into cornhole tournaments, and it just depends on how each neighborhood it's really become. Sometimes it's just people in a cul-de-sac gathering together, and so that's what really makes it a great thing for our city.
Well, that's what makes the community, right?
Yeah, that's it. People talking to their neighbors. And so one neighborhood I won't mention, it gets kind of out of hand. But
wait, is this the neighborhood you're in?
Yeah, no, not mine. No. But I've stopped by one, and there's polka music and good German beer, and then the firefighters stop by and they enjoy themselves watching the people there. So the ice cream social at Carol Butts Park is Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m. at Carol Butts Park with our partners in Highland Hills Rec Center. And then Wednesday, two organizations that are very near and dear to my heart. The first Wednesday of every month at Frolic Brewing, Westminster Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, and C-Fire, each one for the police and fire support organizations. Frolic Brewery gives a percentage every first Wednesday to those two organizations. They have been a great supporter, a great business in our community, and the patio is fully activated, and when the weather's great, there's no better place to be than that on the first Wednesday in the month. So stop by, and if you don't want to stay, get a great pizza to go, and it supports two of the great organizations in our city.
Yeah. So I know I keep going back to the National Night Out. Can you tell them, like, I really want to try and fit this in in my schedule? But
We we
is
we can offline. I can make some
right,
suggestions for you, some run
I'm
bys.
like,
Yeah,
is there a list of these places? Like, where can people find what's going on in their community? If they're newcomers, if they are not,
yeah.
in the weeds on I'm in my community group app or any of that.
That makes it a little difficult if you're not engaged in your community. I know our community, they put signs out at the entrance. That's where I see the other communities. Hey, don't forget National Night Out,
Hmm.
as we're going around, um, especially this last weekend to different parts of the city. I see their sign up boards on there, so they get the word out. Offline, I can make some suggestions to you. So
Okay, that sounds great. Hopefully,
last
hopefully if you're in the
year,
same boat, yeah,
yeah,
you
last year
can
Mayor
bring somebody.
McNally drove me to 9. We got to 9 in one
Oh my
night. So that
gosh,
that's a new record. Yeah.
she is determined. I love that.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, she is.
that is awesome. So now that I've butchered and interjected myself into all of these upcoming socials that you have, and I do encourage people to go out to Carol Butts Park. We used to hold our Mutts and Struts event out there. It is a beautiful park if you've not been out there. It is located kind of in a neighborhood, but you can get to it in 3 different ways: off of Federal, off of Lowell, off of another road if you follow your GPS. So super easy to get to, but it's a very well maintained site. And Highland Hills does an excellent job with their amenities that are out there. So now that we have a couple of minutes, I don't see any questions from the audience. If you have any questions or comments, now would be the time for you to type it into the chat so we can see it and pull it up onto our screen. And if you don't have any other questions for us, then I'll ask that Councilor Seymour continue to share if there are additional things that he has on his plate that he wants others to know.
Then my screen goes round and
It
round.
does. It does. And you were like, it looked like you were taking a minute to sleep or nap or something.
No, no napping here. You know, if people engagement with city council is an outstanding way to get involved in our community. And so later in the fall, we will be sending out and announcing that we'll have interviews for boards and commissions. We do that almost every year. If you want to get involved in one of our boards or commissions, that's a great way to do that. On our website, there's a way to volunteer for about anything. We have thousands of people volunteer tens of thousands of hours every year. A lot of that is in our parks and recs and open space. And so if that's a passion for you, follow your passion, have fun, and enjoy our city. City council meets almost every Monday, save national holidays, and now and again on a fifth Monday of the month. We will be off, but our schedule's real apparent. We're meeting tonight because we took the 4th of July weekend off, so we didn't want to miss that opportunity to meet. But there's you can come in to city council meetings, which are the 2nd and 4th Mondays, during public comment period, and talk to us about anything. And you get 5 minutes, and if something's really stuck in your craw, come let us know. And our people, our communication staff, follow up on every one of those things. If you can't get in, the weather gets bad, follow us on YouTube. And everything's recorded on that as well too. The city's YouTube site, if you have access to that, it's not just city council meetings, it's city council meetings. Study sessions are now on there as well. And those are the 1st and 3rd Monday of the month. As we release our engagement, Sheridan Green, if you're in that neighborhood, please very much, we want to hear from you. We got some great comments the first time. So great opportunities. There's great things happening there. One of the boards I sit on, special permits and licensing, I love that. Get to watch how Chairman Parker Brown runs the meetings and give him a bad time about that from the audience. So turnabout's fair play sometimes. But, every month, a couple of those meetings, we have new businesses coming to our city. Some great news is coming to a couple of reuse buildings that are going to bring fabulous restaurants to our city. Another restaurant to the new downtown. If you haven't been to the new downtown, go there in an evening. And it's tough because in some cases you go downtown now, the new Bonchon Korean fried chicken, the place is packed. Tapping burgers happening. They've got misters on their patio, so it's a great thing. For meal, in the morning, if you need a nice pick-me-up, help me with the name of the new place down there. Vado's Tacos is coming down there, and we've got more townhomes that are going to be built this next year too. So if I missed a business, I'm really sorry. Most of my life's based around food, so.
Around food, yeah, he doesn't care about the last shop that's out there. I don't
No.
know if he invests in that, or
obvious.
Pediatric teeth. I think his little kiddos, although your grandbaby, just
That's
saying,
right.
might find hope to be beneficial. But a lot of
Edwards Jones'
great
office
activity.
down there.
Yes, Kim
Yeah.
just moved out there, so it's nice to see all that growth. And now I know that you are a super humble Councilor Seymour, so I will do this for you. If you are interested in connecting with Councilor Seymour outside of the meetings, you can always find him in almost every single community event he comes to, our chamber events, and is generally there helping to corral people's attention and support us and our small businesses. And outside of that, he is nearly every day, whether it's raining, pouring, or in the heat, on the corner of 99th and Wadsworth with his sign. So feel free to honk at him or try and go out there and see him if you're trying to connect with him. All of our counselors find creative ways of going out to the public, and each of them do it either in City Hall or in the public at a local small business, as we had our Mayor Pro Tem share last week, and then out in the community as Councilor Seymour is doing. So look for those opportunities. They're always super interested to engage with you. And thank you again to all of you for tuning in with us onto our broadcast this morning. If you're watching it later on, you can still give us the hashtag replay. You can always DM us any questions. I do see you, Jefferson County Commissioner Tracy Kraft-Tharp. Thank you so much for tuning in with us as well. So I do want to leave you the rest of your morning. We're over on time. I'm going to blame it on tech this time and not me rambling at the start. But Councilor Seymour, it's always an absolute pleasure to be on here with you.
Julia, you have a great day, and message me on some great hotspots for tomorrow night.
I sure will. Thank you.